Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Still praise the Lord. We have been going through some still transitions. Malapit na po siguro winter because mula na po sa kudami. So, we're going to have a wonderful weather this coming weeks, just month. Dalangin ko lang sana, lumamig na yung boses ko sa microphone na ito. Dalawang buwan na natin ginagawa ito, pero mukhang nahihirapan yung ating sound man to really get the voice at home. But we praise the Lord. This is another challenge for us to be able to be creative and at the same time still go through our worship. Salamat sa Panginoon. I know it is our joy always to worship the Lord. So, kaya niyo po as we come before the Lord once more, samahan niyo po sa simpleng panalangin. Let's ask the Lord to just guide us and fill us with His words this afternoon. Tayo po'y manalangin. Hallelujah. We praise the Lord. We praise you, God, because you are the God who is so good, so awesome. Even in the midst of challenges and experiences that may not be easy to us, the truth remains that you are God who is so good and so faithful. Salamat, Panginoon, that you will never change, no matter what, ano man ang aming kalagayan sa buhay. Salamat for sustaining us in these past days, week, na paghahanap buhay. We thank you for, again, keeping us safe. And now that you've given us this privilege to be able to worship you, we ask that you'll find our hearts, our whole being, indeed, fully surrendered to you. Even now as we receive your word, we ask that your Holy Spirit will manifest Himself to us and take control of this time. We submit ourselves totally to God and ask in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ that you will speak to us, our loving Father. We love you, Lord, and we love your word, and we love to hear from you. So just welcome your Holy Spirit right now. Again, let there be joy and excitement as we study your word. Transcend over our weaknesses and let our minds and our hearts be filled with your word right now. And this is our prayer in the precious name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. Let me start by sharing to you a story of two friends who happens to be Christians. And they were standing on the roadside holding a warning sign. That road sign is going down the steep, medyo pababa. They were holding the sign, the end is near. So lahat ng dumadaan doon ay nakikita yung hawak-hawak, the end is near. And there's this car that is about to pass by, and so they saw the warning sign. They shouted, mockingly to the two friends holding the sign, "Get away! Leave us alone! You nuts! Lumayas kayo! Huwag na kaming guluhin." And so they drove past by. After a while, these two friends holding the sign heard a loud sound, the brake sa pababa, at pagkatapos, ang sabi ng isang kaibigan, siya sa kanyang kaibigan, "Don't you think we need to change our sign rather than the end is near to a bridge under construction?" Sapagkat hindi daw pinapansin yung kalaluan niya. One of the things that people don't take seriously, but it's sure to happen at the end time, is actually the judgment of God, ang paghukom ng Diyos. Hebrews 9:27 says, just as man is destined to die once, and after that, to face judgment. This is a declaration that is true and will certainly happen, that after we die, and we are destined to die. By the way, the English Standard Version put it this way, and just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment. Minsan lang mamamatay ang tao at pagkatapos nun ay siya ay huhukuman na. And I like the word that was given, it is appointed. This is an appointment that is sure to happen. You can't cancel this appointment. You can't delay this appointment. Hindi mo pwede pagpaliban because this will certainly happen at the appointed time. Nobody can stop this appointment that God has destined. So pwede rin bang pakisabi sa katabi mo, may appointment ka kapatid. May appointment ka. And this appointment is there, but more than that, is more of the judgment of God. So we're going to talk about God's judgment this afternoon, and we're going to get our passage from Revelation chapter 20, verses 11 to 12 and 15. So I'll be requesting everyone to please rise. Since these are just 3 verses, we'll be reading this all together. Revelation chapter 20, verse 11. This is our theme this afternoon. Our title actually, The Equalizer. So I don't know, palabas na mo yan, but hopefully that you'll get the point. Alright. We'll be reading this all together. Sabay-sabay po tayo and pakimaksan po natin so that we can really take this by faith. Revelation 20, verse 11, ready? Begin. Then I saw a great white throne, and he who was seated on it. And I saw there, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. If anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. Purihin po Panginoon sa pagkabasa ng Israel. So we're going to talk about God's judgment. And we started a series last Friday about the second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. And we saw a diagram that I presented to you, and we're going to review it for a while. So, kung maalala po natin, this is the diagram, but I just took out something. So, the first coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, and when He was born into this world, that was the birth, the death, and then He resurrected to heaven. Then, He's going to come back, we call it the second coming, with 2 phases. The phase 1 is known as the rapture, where the church will be taken and caught up sa sky, and the Lord will meet the church dun sa alapahan. And the second phase will happen, okay, after that rapture, there will be a terrible tribulation. May maghihirap na dala na sa mundo ito. And then, the Lord will come back. This is now the full second coming. Ibig sabihin, ito na yung totoong bababa kayo sa Kristo dito sa lupa. Right? So that will be yung tinatawag na second coming. But there's something that will happen which is known to be God's judgment along this timetable, that when the Lord returns. The first thing that would happen is actually what we call as the judgment seat of Christ. That is the first judgment that will take place when Jesus Christ returns. We call it as the judgment seat of Christ. And we'll find it actually, or before that, puntahan po natin yung pangalawa. Then after that, Jesus will come back after the judgment that will take place, which is in heaven. Jesus will return. And as He returns, there will be another judgment, and this time it's called as the Great White Throne Judgment, where we base our text this afternoon in Revelation chapter 20. This is known as the Great White Throne Judgment. And that judgment, after that judgment, immediately people who will be judged will be put into the lake of fire. That's in verse 15 that we have read. Okay? Dalawang judgment po yan, mga kapatid. So let me share to you the first judgment. We need to at least have an understanding of this judgment, which is known as the judgment seat of Christ. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 10 says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ." Okay, binanggit ko na malinaw. That each one may receive what is due him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. So that's the judgment seat of Christ. By the way, this judgment is only for the believers of Christ. Ito'y para lamang sa mga Kristiyano na totoong nanampalataya at may relasyon kay Kristo. This judgment is not about whether you're going to enter heaven or not, because you're already there. Okay? This judgment is not about your destiny, but for how we invest our lives into this earth. Paano natin ginugol yung buhay na tinubos ng Panginoon sa Kristo? Part of that, and a big part of that, is our service to the Lord. In fact, very clearly, on how we are going to be judged. In 1 Corinthians, it was mentioned, verse 3, or chapter 3, verse 13 to 15. This will be the kind of judgment that we have to go through. His work will be shown for what it is, because the day, referring to the judgment seat of Christ, where the day of judgment will be conducted, will bring it to light. Lahat po ng ginawa ng sinumang taong may relasyon kay Kristo at may ugnayan kay Kristo, hindi po yung sinasabing siya'y Kristiyano lamang, kundi totoo may relasyon sa Kanya. Na kinuha ng Panginoon sa Kristo during the rapture, that will take place after the rapture, before the second full second coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. There will be a judgment. God will expose everything that a Christian had done into this world. Ano gagawin ng Panginoon? It will be revealed with fire. And the fire will test the quality of each man's work. Lahat po ng ginawa natin ng paglilingkod ay daraan sa isang tinatawag na apoy. Alright? And what would happen? If what he has built survives, kung anong hindi masunog, he will receive his reward. If your service and your life that you've invested in this world will go through that fire at hindi natumpok mula sa apoy, then you will be rewarded. But if it is burned up, he will suffer loss. And clearly, to show you that it is for Christians, sabi sa last part, he himself will be saved. Maliligtas siya, but only as one escaping through the flames. So this is very clear that a Christian will go through a judgment, but it is not a judgment that whether he's going to hell or not, because he's already saved. Okay? Ang problema lang is that if your life into this world were not invested properly for the Lord, then you will just like be somebody na para magpasang-awa ka lang. At least hindi ka nasunog sa apoy. That's very clear. Okay, this is the judgment seat of Christ. This judgment is more of what we call a rewarding time. Okay, it is a rewarding time. Kaya in 2 Timothy chapter 4 verse 8, it says, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for His appearing." So, ito na po, ito na yung koronahan. Okay? If you just imagine yourself na parang merong awarding na mangyayari. And we are going to be awarded on how we invested our lives. Kaya sabi niya na, you will be rewarded. And those life that was not properly invested and used for the Lord, ang sabi doon, ay medyo problema lang, parang maiingit ka kasi sila may award, ikaw wala. Kawawa ka naman. Alright? Diba? Napansin niyo ba pag tayo sumasali sa sports fest, everybody wants to get hold of the trophy of the award because you want to be identified with the winner. We are the winner and we enjoy that. Pero problema, in this awarding, wala ka, hindi ka kasama dun sa award. So, medyo malungkot ng konti yan. Ano po? But, hindi ka mapapahamak because you just pass. Masatawa. At least hindi ka pupunta sa impyerno. But unfortunately, there'll be no joy during this time for you because people who invested their lives for the Lord are the one who will be rewarded. Alright? That's the judgment seat of Christ. The second judgment is known as the Great White Throne Judgment, where we got our verse. Okay? The Great White Throne Judgment. Again, then I saw, sabi ni John, a white throne, a great white throne, and him who was seated on it. May nakaupo. Alright? And sabi niya, and I saw the dead. Nakita kong lahat ng patay, great and small. Referring to the kind of people who died. Maybe because the reason why they're great, maybe may pangalan sila sa iba po ng lupa. Pwede sila yung mga kongresista, mga pare, mga pastor. Okay? Basta yung tinitingala. Pero kasama sila doon sa namatay. Another book, and standing before the throne, nakatayo sila. And books were opened. By the way, these are several books. And one of the books is actually known as the Book of Life. The dead were judged according to what they have done as recorded in the books. Okay. If anyone's name was not found written in the Book of Life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. Pagbukas ng libro at wala yung pangalan mo doon, you'll be thrown into the lake of fire. But, let me tell you that this judgment is not actually knowing whether you're still going to heaven or hell. Because this judgment is more of already a sentencing. It is not anymore a trial whether you're going to be convicted or not. Because you're already convicted. Because this judgment is for the unbelievers. The books will be opened and definitely their names are not there. This is more of a sentencing. It is a judgment, while the judgment seat of Christ is more of crowning and rewarding. The Great White Throne Judgment is more of condemning and punishing. While the judgment seat of Christ is an awarding time, the Great White Throne Judgment is an agonizing time. Iyakan gusto ito. Sapagkat that books that will be opened will only verify that the people standing will go into the punishment of the lake of fire. Eh, Pastor, bakit parang sinabi, they will be judged according to what is written in the books? Yes, these people thought that they will be saved according to what they have done. So God is going to use that also to them. And let me show you this truth. Romans 3:20. So then, no human being can be found upright at the tribunal of God by keeping the law. All that the law does is to tell us that we are sinful. So if people will believe, and still believing today, that they will be saved by obeying the law, they will be put to shame. Because nobody will be able to fulfill the law. They will not be justified by the law. Because the law only exposes that we are sinful and we are wicked. Kaya nga, the judgment in the Great White Throne Judgment, it's more sentencing na lang because definitely, when the books are opened, you will be found guilty. But I'm referring to the unbelievers or the people who don't have a relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. The books will just be a verification that they are indeed going to heaven, into the lake of fire. Now, in obeying the law is God's way to save us. Yung pagpapakabuti ay paraan pwede nang maligtas tayo. I said this many times. Then Jesus need not to come into this world because anyway, you can be good and you can save yourself. Amen po ba? If we and you can do our best to do good works and save ourselves, then Jesus need not to come. Hindi natin siya kailangan. We can do it by our own. Pero sabi ng Biblia, you cannot be justified by the boast of the law or by keeping the law. The law only tells you that you are sinful. Makasalanan ka talaga. It only verifies. In fact, again, 3 verses after this, it says, okay, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Lahat ng tao ay nagkasala at hindi makabot sa kaluwalhatian ng Diyos. I'm not saying that you're not doing any good works. But even if you're doing good works, the Bible is very clear. That good works will not be able to reach God and will not be accepted by God. It falls short of the glory of God. That's why we are going to hell. And anyone who claims to be justified by the law, they will be condemned by the law. That's why in the great white throne judgment, it is really a sentencing, not actually determining whether you're going to heaven or hell. Because it is already assured that people will be standing the great white throne judgment will be judged into the lake of fire. While the Christian will go through the judgment seat of Christ. So this afternoon, I'll be sharing 3 things quickly. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the reasons for God's judgment. Bakit ba mayroong judgment na mangyayari? The first reason that we'll find out why there is a need for God's judgment is that it is because of God's wonderful character. Because of the character and nature of God, there is not a need for judgment. Why? Sino ba ang Diyos? Maraming alam at maraming pinaginawa pag nahawakan that God is love. Yes, it's true. The Bible tells that God is love. Unfortunately, again, maraming Kristiyano, at marami rin, lalo na hindi mga Kristiyano, they only take that one part at the expense of another character of God, which is also important, which is God is also just. While God is love, God is also just. That while God loves you even that you're a sinner, but your sins must be punished because God is just. That's the wonderful character of God that is complete, hindi lang one-sided. That's why Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 13 says, your eyes, O Lord, are too pure to look on evil. You cannot tolerate wrong because He is a holy God. Maraming tao, even religion, at this, sa mundo ito, ang lagi namang pinangawakan at lagi tinuturo is that God is love. And they do not, and they can accept that God has another character which is just. Was the manifestation that they don't accept that? When it comes to the end time, they only believe that there's a thing as heaven that people will go to. But they don't believe in hell where people will be punished. May mga reliyon na naniniwala sa langit pero hindi tinatanggap ang impyerno. Right? The Seventh-day Adventists and the Church of the Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, and the Jehovah's Witness don't teach hell. They teach that man, and hell for them is that man there will be an extinction. Para lang silang tutunawin. So wala silang pinikilalang paghihirap ng tao after life. There's no such thing as hell. The Buddhist and Hindus believes in reincarnation. They cannot accept a God who will punish man with the torture of hell. Pero ang punishment lang nila is that sa kabilang buhay, pwedeng ipis ka, pwedeng langgam ka. Yun ang pinakamabigat na punishment sa kanila. Depende yun sa ginawa mo. Di ba? So many times, religions will teach love. God is love, but they won't teach God is holy. Because they can't accept that a God who's love will really punish people and allow them to go to hell. But very clearly, mga kapatid, we'll see right now, with that character of God, He can't be a holy God without being angry towards unholiness. The Jesus that we read in the Bible is the Jesus, yes, who filled the table or the wedding banquet with wine because He loves to make people happy. But on the other side, He is a Jesus who turned and overturned the table because of the wickedness and the sinfulness of those who are in the temple. So pareho po yan na makikita natin imahe ng Panginoon sa Kristo. Ibig sabihin, mga kapatid, ang konsepto ng kadalasan ng tao sa pagiging mabait. Di ba? Dapat labing ka yung tao hindi nagpapakita ng kasamaan sa'yo o ng kaparusahan, nagbibigay ng kaparusahan. Pero how can you believe on God that is love and yet not angry towards you? Mahirap isipin yan. Because kahit tayo magulang, there's another side of love that is painful for our children. And that is discipline. And yet, that is an expression of love. We punish our children. Mahirap sabihin ng tao, kaibigan mo, na mabait sa'yo at mahal ka, kapag alam niya na habang naglalakad ka, dun sa dulo ng kalsada, ay merong open, ang tawag natin dito, yayipon na walang takip at magugulo ka at hindi ka winamilan. Mahal ka ba ng kaibigan mo? Na hindi ka mo lang sinabihan? At pagkatapos nung naglakad ka, nahulog ka, umahon ka at nakita uli kayo, meron pa ng imburnal doon. Hindi ko alam. Oo, alam ko may imburnal doon. Ba't hindi mo sinabi? Eh baka iwasan mo eh. Mabuti bang kaibigan niya? Pag meron bang pulis na nakakita ng isang kaibigan na nangyayari sa kanyang harapan na wala siyang ginawa, is he a good policeman? Of course not. So in the same way, God is a God of love, but at the same time, He's a God who's holy and just, and He's going to be angry with sin. Romans chapter 11 verse 22 shows the balanced character of God. Sabi niya dito, notice how God is both kind and severe, meaning severe is strict. He's very hard on those who disobey, but very good to you if you continue to love and trust Him. Mabait ang Diyos kapag ikaw ay sumusunod sa kalooban niya. Okay? Pero kapag hindi, He's harsh on you. Why? Bigat naman ng Lord. Hindi. Gusto ng Lord bumalik ka sa Kanya at ingatan ka niya. That's the reason why. So, balansin mo ang karakter ng Diyos. That's the reason why God has to bring judgment. The second reason why there's judgment is because of man's wicked condition. Dahil sa kasamaan ng tao at sa kasalanan ng tao. And you'll find that none other than in the book of Romans chapter 1, where it's declared. I'll be reading another passage this afternoon, especially this one, so please follow me as I read. The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Romans chapter 1 is very clear, verse 18. Ang puot ng Diyos, mga kapatid, hindi lang basta galit. Iba po yung anger sa wrath. Okay? Yung anger, galit. Pero yung puot, yung wrath is puot. Ibig sabihin, naglalagablab na galit. And it's being revealed from heaven. Pinapakita ng Diyos. Pero alam niyo ba, mabait pa ang Diyos. Kasi pinapakita niya yung puot niya. Kasi yung tao, na totoong mabigat at matindi kung magalit, hindi ba sa pinapakita yung sama ng loob? Pero papatayin ka. Patagot. Tahimik lang. Delikado. Okay? I don't know, one of my favorite, siguro yung tanging natanda ko sa teacher ko, na tinuro na isang, the father of short stories, which is Edgar Allan Poe, is the short story by entitled The Cask of Amontillado. Amontillado is a wine. Okay? Medyo short story, pero it is a story of vengeance, mga kapatid. Kung paano isang tao, galit na galit at may puot sa isang tao nang insulto sa kanya sa araw-araw ng buhay. At hindi niya pinakita ang galit siya, kundi nagplano siya kung paano niyang babawian yung tao in a very subtle way. And it was terrible. So if you have time to read that book, it's a good short story book. Pinakita doon kung paano niyang pinawian yung tao na nag-insulto sa kanya sa araw-araw, na halos talagang yung puot, laman ng puso niya araw-araw. Dinala niya sapagkat yung tao na yung lasinggero, okay? Yung ito na rin po kahit konti. Yung lasinggero ng tao, sabi niya, minsan nung nakita sila, alam mo, meron ako anak na napakasarap. Because sa kanila sa lugar nila, is common thing to preserve a wine underneath doon sa kalamang bahay. Ano po? And the longer they preserve it, the better the wine is. The taste. So, kaya sabi niya doon sa tao, I have a wonderful wine, the best wine. Tinanong siya ng tao, what's that wine? Amang tinawag. Nung marinig pa lang yung salita, nagtulunan ng tao yung tao sinabihan niya. Pero sabi niya, but I have it under our underground in the house. But I guess I have to ask my friend to do the testing and bring it home. Because I know you have plenty of things to do. Marunong po siya, ginamit niya. Oh no, let me do that. I'm the best drinker here. I'm the best tasting man here when it comes to wine. Ang galing niya kung paano magplato, mga kapatid. Habang lumalalim, mayroong mga nakatambak na wine, parang tinutukso niya, hanggang sa dulo, yun pala, sa dulo na yun, nilasing na yung taster, pagdating sa dulo, immediately, pinosas niya. Tinakit na tanikala niya doon sa pader. Lasing na yung tao, di na maintindihan kung anong ginagawa ng kaibigan niya, tinakali na pala siya. Alam niyo mga kapatid, unti-unti, gusto iparamdam ng tao na alam niya yung ginagawa niyang pagganti at pagpatay. Why? How did he kill the guy? Merong mga pader at meron ng space na kung saan unti-unti na binabalik yung mga grapes na magtatakip at maglilibig po sa tao. Nilibig niya ng buhay, mga kapatid. Garisagan. Kaya yung mga taong sa totoo lang, pag hindi magalit, hindi pinapalatayan, tahimik yan. Pero, huwag ka. Hindi bigay sa iyo yung pagkain ayaw mo at bawal sa iyo. Sige pa. Masarap yan. Mag-donut ka pa. Unti-unti ka na palang pinapatay. Yan yung mga taong matindi magalit, mga kapatid. Yung mga malalalo masyado. Nagkagawin yung tahimik lang eh. Kaya ang bait ng Diyos, sabi ng Diyos, the wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness. Since what may be known about God is plain to them, simple lang naman, pinahayag na ng Diyos kung sino siya, ayon sa kanyang manilikha. Alam ng tao yan, nakikita ng mga tao yung katangian ng Diyos. At sapat yung para hanapin nila ang Diyos. Pero nangyari, for since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature has been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. Dugtungan pa po natin. Itong problema. Although they knew God, they neither glorified Him as God, nor gave things to Him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Hindi nila kilala ang Diyos. Ano nangyari? Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the mortal gods for images made to look like mortal men and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore God, dahil sa ginawa nila, mabait pa rin po ang Diyos. Okay? Pinabayaan lang muna sila ng Diyos. God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another. So sino may kasalanan? Hindi kasalanan ng Diyos, kasalanan ng tao. But God will not force you. And so, He will allow you to plunge into sin because that is the desire of your heart. Nagbibigay ng warning ang Lord, pero hindi ka nakikinig. They exchange the truth of God for a lie and worship and serve created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. Amen. Because of this, God gave them, God gave them over to shameful lust. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women, and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received themselves the due penalty for their perversion. Ano sinasabi nito mga kapatid? Kaya ang tao minsan, kahit minsan meron ka ng partner, nagkakaroon ka pa ng iba, hindi ka makontento because of the sinful desire. Meron ka ng idol, gusto mo pang ni Lord na Kepe. Ang problema, hindi na nakontento kay Lord na Kepe, gusto mo pang tikman si Cardo. Ayaw mo na kay Lord na Kepe, Cardo naman. By the way, wala ka ng pag-asa kasi matanda na si Cardo sa susunod na senaryo. Ito pong problema ng tao mga kapatid because perverted ang puso ng tao. Alright? Ito nangyari. Very common right now. Ang pasimuno niya, of course, sa Northern America. And slowly, unti-unti, it is expanding in different countries. Right now, the recent na nag-aproba, I think it's Australia. Australia. It is now allowed. Because they want to have the privilege of marriage. And on their parade, mga kapatid, you can see yung kanilang immoralities and impurities are displayed. And come to think of it, sarap nila yung mga bata. And they were frightened because right now, when they accepted that, even their textbook will teach them that sex, same-sex marriage is okay and same-sex relationship. But the worst thing is this, mga kapatid. Let's watch this. Alright? Yan. Ang reason nila, ang motto nila mga kapatid is love. Love, not hate. Ang problema, you'll never know the expansion and the extent of the sinfulness of man. Sige. Panoorin natin sa dalito. Pakiplay na. Malinaw po na, kasi yun naman. Pero yung sound, yun na lang. Right? I know, napanood po na yung kasi dito sa Facebook, but this is a 2-minute video.
Okay. Just put audio from here to here.
We need to watch this because this is the extent of the wickedness of man. Sa title of Scholars says pedophilia is now sexual orientation
That's not my
that
fault.
should be accepted by members of society. Alam niyo kung saan ginagawa yung mga kapatid? Sa TED Talk. TED Talk is the biggest and most famous venue where knowledge is being promulgated so that people will be affected by what they are sharing. And one of the things that was discussed is about pedophilia. TED Talk po yan mga kapatid. Hinibian lang yan yung mga magagaling at talagang malaking taong makaka-influensya sa mundo. And this lady was asked to share about pedophilia.
Video and audio. Okay. When you connect this,
Kasi mo,
take out the audio.
habang nag-uusap po sila, ay nag-explain ko po ng konti pa.
I mean, if you guys have an IT person, so he can understand what I'm saying.
It's okay. Let me just explain this.
Ayaw mo play?
Ang sabi po ng lecturer, she was invited,
Ito, gusto mo?
that the pedophiles are not responsible for their emotions, only for their actions. Parang totoo, no?
No.
And pedophiles should be, by the way, I don't know, parang kalimutan. Sino mga pedophiles? People has affections and desire for little children. Sexual desires.
Until you
Okay?
not the audio.
People with sexual desires for little children. So if this will happen, and now TED Talk allow them to speak, that they must be accepted as a sexual and a legitimate sexual orientation, therefore,
I have the same
now,
problem with the
sex by an adult to children will be allowed and will be taught in the schools.
I mean,
Kaya hindi ka pwedeng tumutol kapag may anak ng bata at pagkatapos gusto makasex nung kapitbahay ko malapit. Bahala siya sa gusto niya.
As it is, and just
Still,
from the HMI
that is the extent, mga kapatid. Because we welcome now the kind of weakness that the Bible is declaring. Men does not want to have a relationship with women, but they prefer yung kanilang kasex with Asian men. When will this stop? Wala pong katatapusan yan. So it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Right? So, that's the extent. Now, let me ask. Does God have the reason to judge us? Of course. In fact, kahit sa buong sinisigaw nila, hindi naman tayo musga ng mundo. Mahal tayo ng Diyos. God is love. Yan ang moto nila eh. Mga kapatid, yan din po yung sinisigaw nila ng panahon ni Noah. They never thought that God will judge them. But God did. God did. Because of man's wickedness, this world will be judged. Because divine wrath is God's righteous anger and punishment provoked by sin. Ang buot ng Diyos, ang buot ng Diyos ay matuwid na gamit at pagpapakusa dahil sa kasalanan. Kaya nga meron isang tao na dati dinaniwala sa galit ng Diyos. Ang pangalan niya,
Ganun din, gagamit kasi tayo ng isla. Direkta na ba yun?
okay. Si Miroslav Boff. Dati hindi niya tinatanggap yung ang Diyos nagagalit. Sabi niya, though I used to complain about the indecency of the idea of God's wrath, I came to think that I would have to rebel against a God who wasn't wrathful at the sight of the world's either. God isn't wrathful in spite of being love. God is wrathful because God is love. Kaya dahil ang Diyos ay tubo siya ng pag-ibig. Dahil sa pag-ibig niya, galit siya sa kasalanan. So God's judgment is because of His character and because of man's wickedness. So how will God render His judgment? Let's go to the second point. The rendering of God's judgment. First, we have to understand who's the executioner of God's judgment. Sino mag-execute ng judgment ng Panginoon? Okay? Sino hukum? Malinaw po, John chapter 5, 22, verse 53 says, the Father judges no one, but has given all judgment to the Son, that all may honor the Son just as they honor the Father. Mga kapatid, ang darating na hukom is none other than the Lord Jesus Christ. It's not the Father. Because the Father has delegated the task to the Son. The reason? Maybe logically, because it's the Son who suffered for the people whom He loved. It was also confirmed in Acts chapter 17, verse 31. For He has set a day when He will judge the world with justice by the man He has appointed. He has given proof of this to all men by raising Him from the dead, referring to the Lord Jesus Christ as the judge. So Jesus is the judge. Kaya siya rin po yung babalik. Let's go to the equality of God's judgment. Pantay ba ang judgment ng Panginoon? There is a judge. Before giving his sentence to a case, sabi niya, you see, I was given 2 bribes. One person gave me $10,000. The other one is $15,000. I both accepted them, but I judged the case by the merit, not because of the bribe. So, when I found that the other guy is guilty, okay, ano siya, I'm going to return this money. I'm going to just accept the one who has won the case by merits. Is that okay? Of course not. Because a judge should not accept any form of bribe. Now, God's judgment is equal. Fair. Why? Because He's a judge that is all-knowing. He's all-knowing. Ang maganda sa judge natin, mga kapatid, alam niya lahat ng bagay. Hindi niya kinakailangan ng investigator, hindi niya kinakailangan ng FBI, hindi niya kinakailangan ng NBI. Alam niya kung ano ang sitwasyon. Ano po? Hindi tayo pwede magpalusok sa Kanya. Hindi niya kinakailangan ng matinding investigasyon. He knows what happened, He knows us, He knows everything. Kaya hindi tayo pwede lumusot. Kaya pwede mo bang pakikisig at sabi mo sabi mo wala kang lusot naman. Nakikita na mo pag nagtutulog ka na. Okay? Naalala niyo ba yung kwento ni Kuya Cesar na nakaraan? Isang tao. Nasa church siya. Itong tao na itong napakabayan. Pero ang problema, yung kapatid niya namatay. At yung kapatid niya ay masamang tao. Ay sabi niya, Pastor, since may project tayo, building project, I'm going to give 100,000. But I only want one request. During the burial of my brother, you have to declare your brother as saint. Siya isang santo. Eh, kinala ng mga tao, sa isang tao. So sabi ng pastor, sige, akin yung pera mo. Nabigay yung sekretary. On the day ng burial ng kapatid, sabi ng pastor ng salita siya, this man, who is before us, who just passed away, is a wicked man. He is so evil. He's a womanizer. He kills a lot. He's so bad. But compared to his brother, this man is a saint. Sabi yung pastor, ano? At least, tinawag naman yung saint. Nandiyan na mga kapatid, you would like to have a good image. Diba? We would like to portray a good image. Pero sa harapan ng Diyos, wala akong tayong nakatago. He knows everything. He's an all-knowing God, an all-knowing judge. Sabi niya in Romans 2:16, this will take place on the day when God will judge men's secrets through Jesus Christ, as by gospel declares. Husga ng Panginoon lahat ng nakatago sa buhay ng tao na lalanggan. Lahat ng sekreto at lahat ng tao may sekreto. Ano po? Amen po ba? Ang sabi ko, delikado ka kasi. Delikado ka. Lahat tayo may sekreto. Sa harapan ng Diyos, makikita yan. At bubulgarya ng Diyos. He's going to judge all the secrets of men. Sabihin mo na yung pinakamabay ka. Ulit, sa akin lang, may katatawag na sa akin, mga kapatid. Asking for counseling because nagulat siya sa isang tao, Kristiyano ka naman, nagulagin mo sa niya. Basta nagulat ako, hindi ko alam. Kala ko napakabait niya. Eh, mali, masama na ugali niya, itong pinagagawa sa akin. Sabi ko, alam mo natin, tao, may masama, may mabuti. Kaya nga kinakailangan isuko yung masama sa Diyos para na sa magbabuhin tayo ng Lord. Sabi ko sa kanya. It was a terrible time. It was taking my time. So sabi ko, let's make some time. But definitely, sabi niya, Pastor, nagulat ako sa siya. Please, sabi ko, everyone has secrets and God will judge them. Malinaw po yan sa salita ng Diyos. In Luke chapter 12, 17-13, there is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed or hidden that will not be made known. Walang bagay na hindi natatago, natatago na hindi mapuluksan. Mga kapatid, that's the reason why we need God's grace and mercy. If it is not for God's mercy, we will not be able to stand before the Lord. Kaya iba na kung akala kong bait niya. Kahit pastor pa yan, leader pa yan. Mga kapatid, before the Lord, we can fully stand by the grace of God. Amen po ba? Sa biyaya lang ng Panginoon. Kaya the more that we need each other, the more that we need to surrender to the Lord. God is an all-knowing God. Our judge is an all-knowing God. Secondly, He is a judge that is always right. Always right. Or righteous. That's why He's always right. Verse Daniel said this, or Deuteronomy. His works are perfect and all His ways are just. A faithful God who does no wrong, upright and just I just read some cases on trial sa United States, and amazing how funny things happen in the court. Because one time when a judge was trying to give his sentence to a case, instead, nasabihin niya that he fines the guy to fine $1,000 and spend 2 years in prison. Ang sabi niya, I now sentence you to imprisonment for 1,000 years and $2. Tawa na ko yung mga tao. Nagbaliktad. May mas malala naman yung isang judge kasi binasa mo siya, sabi niya, I now sentence you with 9 months in jail. Pero mabasa na, nakalis na ko yung dinala ng mga pulis sa kulungan. Nabasa niya, yung kaso pala, ang pinakataas na pwedeng sentence is 6 months. Kaya, sabi na, kailangan mabawi ko ito. Pinabalik niya ng hapon. Kung sabi niya sa lalaki, I recall you because I heard from the policeman that you're a good prisoner. That's why I'm lowering your sentence to 6 months. So, minsan mga pumapalpak yung mga husgado mga kapatid na totoo yan. Again, people can commit mistakes and be judged, but not our judge, our heavenly judge, the Lord Jesus Christ. In this world, we live in a world that is a broken justice system. I don't know if you're aware of this. Hindi ko pa po natatanong yung mga Cebuano, but I read and watched this video and the story of this guy. Right? Kilala niyo ba ito? Okay? Yan. The Chong Sisters Murder Mystery. Okay? That was the story of a guy. This guy is popular in America. A Spanish guy who was accused that he killed 2 sisters who is in Cebu at that time while he's in Manila. This case took many years. Hindi mahusgahan. But the mother of the sisters na sinasabi, the Chongs, si Jacqueline, nagtatrabaho sa court yata. And it happens na meron silang connection kay former President Erap. And so, Erap really worked out that this case matapos. And this guy was sentenced as guilty. Okay? For kidnapping and murdering one sister. Pero hindi mo nakita mga kapatid, nakilala yung bangtay ng isa. At yung isang kapatid, hindi pa nakikita hanggang sa ngayon. Alright? This guy was in prison together with some men. In spite of the evidence that this guy, on the day of the crime, was in school with his friends. How many people saw him? More than 15 persons testified. But they were not asked in the court to testify. Okay? Why? Simply because the other party has the president's backup. It was a terrible, terrible case. But this guy did not admit that he was guilty because he's not sabi niya. Time will come that the truth will come out. Hanggang ngayon hindi ko nakikita yung mga kapatid, walang body masasabi. They just refer to mga body na hindi naman nakikilala. Pero hindi talaga malaman. But some news that are coming out is that the sisters were now in Canada. Ito po yung dalawa na magkapatid na sinabi, pinatay, kinuko. At ito na po yung sila. Sabi. Okay? Sabi. I don't know really what's the truth, but definitely people saw a broken system. Because of that, nagkaroon ng documentary film na ginawa ang title, Give Up Tomorrow. Because the main man, Paco, was about to kill himself, but during that time, sabi niya, I'll just give up tomorrow. Tomorrow na lang ako magpapakamatay. Daily sa kulungan, sabi niya, tomorrow na lang ako magpapakamatay. Kaya ang title ng documentary film is Give Up Tomorrow. Tomorrow na lang ako magpapakamatay. I'll just give up tomorrow. And by doing that, he was sustained until now, he's alive. He's now in Spain. Pero hindi pa rin po napapatunayan. Nakulong pa rin siya sa Spain because of explanation na living. But this guy never admitted because he believed he had not committed the crime. But even the law students in different schools believe that this was really a broken justice system. Kaya, it was a good documentary. Alam mo kung gano'n matagal kong ginawa mga kapatid yung pelikula? 7 years. Inimbestigahan nila lahat, pati magulang nito, for 7 years. 7 years, nanalo maraming awards sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo. The titles Give Up Tomorrow. You can watch that sa YouTube. But that shows that we live in a world that has a broken system. But we have the Lord, we have a judge that is all-knowing and always right. Hindi po siya nagkakamali. We have a judge that is also all-powerful. Sa naman na ng Diyos natin, makapangyarihan din. Bakit? Sabi po ng Isaiah 33 verse 22, for the Lord, notice this, is our judge. The Lord is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. May mga kapatid, pinagsama-sama. Sa system ng government natin, merong judiciary, merong executive, at merong legal. Ano pa ba isang system? Judicial, executive, legislative. Okay, gumagawa ng batas. Yung tatlo pinagsama-sama. Judge, lawgiver, and king, executive. Sabi doon, the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. That's why He will save us. He has the power to save us. Now, but then there's a guy during World War II. This guy is Otto Adolf Eichmann. He is the right-hand man of Adolf Hitler, who orchestrated and the architect of the Holocaust. Siya ang nagpapatay ng 30,000 Jews in one day. This guy. Nung bumagsak si Hitler, nagtago siya. Napunta siya ng iba't ibang parte ng mundo, Italy, napunta ng Argentina. Ang galing niya magtago. It took 15 years bago mo siya nahuli. Nahuli mo siya ng Mossad, ng Israel Secret Army. Hindi mo siya nakatakas. Because God knows that this guy should be put into justice. Kahit gano'n siya kagaling tumakas, nahuli pa rin po siya nakakapit. Why? God is still in control. He is a just God. And He's going to put everyone into justice who are guilty. Let's go to the third part. Now, anong response natin if God's judgment is coming? Kung papunta rito parating ang pag-uusap ng Diyos. First thing, let me advise you. Turn away or tone down from judging others. Huwag ka basta husga ng ibang tao. Romans 14:10. You then, you. Ang sabi sa katabi mo, you. Why do you judge your brother? Why do you look down on your brother? For we will stand before God's judgment seat. Huwag ka basta mahusga. How can we turn away from judging others easily and being judgmental? Paano natin maiwasan? Mga kapatid, this is one of the things. Focus on the action, not on the person. So if somebody lies, huwag mo sasabihin, sinungaling ka. That's judgment. Pero pag sinabi mo, nagsinungaling ka, that is right. You focus on the action rather than the person. Because when you focus on the person, you're judging the person. When you focus on the action, then you are showing what is true and what has been done. Okay? Para mas maiwasan. May ginawa sa iyong asawa mo. Huwag mo kagad sabihin, husgahan siya, sabihin, babaero ka. Wow. Sabihin mo na, merong tumatawag sa cellphone mo. At ang pangalan niya ay pang babae. Sino siya? Mag-imbestiga ka muna. Huwag muna agad. Babaero. Don't judge. Sabi niya. Again, James chapter 4 verse 12. There is only one lawgiver and one judge, the one who is able to save and destroy. But who are you to judge your neighbor? sabi sa katabi ko, don't judge. Don't judge. But for you to be able not to judge, mahirap kasi. Alam niyo, magagawa mo lang hindi ba sa mahunggal, mga kapatid? Ito, tatandaan mo, tatak mo na sa isip mo. Kasi kung ano ang hinusgan mo, magaling sa'yo. Diba? Therefore, kung ayaw mo husgan ka, itong gawin ko. Trust God's judgment. Trust God's judgment. Why? Romans 12:19. Do not take revenge, my friends, but leave room for God's wrath. Malinaw. Leave room for God's wrath. For it's written, it is mine to avenge, I will say, I will repay, says the Lord. Anong natin dito, mga kalit? Seriously, honestly, pakitas lang po pa. Sino na ito sa inyo ang naloko? Sige, pakitas mo kami. Naloko ka na ba? Huwag mo kayo maiyak. Naloko ka na ba? Ibig sabihin, kami lang naloko nito. Okay? Binahan natin. Nautanan ka na ba, hindi ka nabayaran? Huwag biglang dumami. Huwag dumami bigla. Mga kapatid, hindi kayo mag-iisa. Naloko ka na. And it's really painful kapag naloko ka because you're taken advantage of. Parang binayulate ka niyan eh. Di ba? Lalo na, siyempre yung mga naloko sa'yo, kadalasan, malapit pa sa iyan eh. Di ba? Kasi kapag malayo sa iyan, parang hindi masyadong mabigat ang dating. Always. Pero kapag malapit yung tao ng loko sa'yo, mas masakit ang dating sa tama niya. Kaibigan mo, kapatiran mo, ka-church mo. Kaya nga lalo sinasabi, mag-ingat po tayo, hindi porket pareho kayo pumunta sa simbahan, kala mo, okay na yan. Wala din yan, mga kapatid, nasa puso yan sa kinasyon na kay Kristo. Okay? Ako nga may kaibigan ko na eh. Kasama ko pa sa seminaryo eh. Nakiusap lang. Pagkatapos eh, wala na. Isnabihan na siya. Hindi na ako pinapansin. Mga kapatid, and many times we tend and we desire to take vengeance. Gusto ko natin gumanti. Pastor, hindi ba sabihin na dapat? Huwag ka nang, basta, bigay mo lang kay Lord na. Pag ginagabyan ka, hindi. Kung pwede mong gamitin, yes, you seek for justice. Yes, okay, it's okay. Pero kapag hindi na kaya at limitado na, huwag mo nang habulin pa. Ipagpaubayan mo na sa Diyos. There is an ultimate judge, the highest judge, which is God. So, naloko ka na ba? Iniwan ka ba ng boyfriend mo, ng girlfriend mo? Sinaktan ka ba ng asawa mo? Ibigay mo lang kay Lord. Bakit sino? Sabi ni Lord, leave room for God's wrath. Pag binigay mo kay God, baka kunin ka agad. Oh. Di ba? Pag binigay mo kay God, baka kunin ka agad. Leave room for God's wrath. Bahala ang Diyos sa Kanya. Okay. Sabi ng 2 Thessalonians, aming maniwala, 1:6, God is just. He will pay back trouble to those who trouble you. Yung nagnakaw sa iyo, kapatid, pwedeng tanggalan ng Diyos. Minsan meron ako isang kalaro, nag-table tennis doon sa Dubai. Gusto, wala yung wallet ko. May naman pa ng pera. Magkano? Yung pulisya ko, 2,000. Sakit. Sakit ang ngayon, kapatid. Kaya ako, mabay naman ang Lord. Ibabalik niya yung nawala sa'yo. Ibabalik niya. Pero dalawa yan kasi, sabi ko, pag nawala sa'yo, pag maayos naman, nawala lang, ibig sabihin, ibabalik na Lord siya sa ibang paraan. Or, dalawa yan. Baka may nakunang ka natin, kinuha mo lang ng Lord. Hindi ko siya nakapunod pagkatapos ko. Kaya hindi na siya nanalo sa table tennis. Dahil inisip na, may kinunan ba ako? May kinunan ba ako? Mga kapatid, nalinaw. He will pay back trouble to those who trouble you. I'm not saying pag may back na nangyari sa'yo, ay meron kong ginawa in the past. Hindi ho laging gano'n, mga kapatid. But sometimes, there's a consequence to every action. Minsan nakakasawa na, di ba? Tumingin ka sa Facebook, hindi ba kinapapagod? Away ng away sa politika, banatan ng banatan. Kasi naman, talaga namang, yan ang naman sa Pilipinas sa politika, talaga namang tatlo naman masaya sa politika, ibigay, di ba? Di ba? Politika, basketball, artista. Kaya gusto naman yung niya eh. Kaya nakakapagod din minsan mga kapatid. Lagi na lang may magpapangayan, magpapalitan. Meron lang nag-post. Ito, yung isang pastor nag-post kasama ni Mocha Muso. Sabi ng komento na, tinignan po, pastor pa yung isa, pastor yung asawa ng pastor. So, napilitan lang mag-comment just to pacify them. Sabi ko, while I resent her action in the past because of yung kanyang mga ginagawa kay Mocha, but I not go to the extent of judging the pastor simply because he allowed himself to have a picture with Mocha Muso. Kasi sabi mo, bakit makipag-picture si pastor dyan? Inusgahan na. Kaya pala pare-pareho ng standard. See? Ang bilis magbitaw ng salita mga kapatid. Nakakapagod minsan. Di ba? Pero huwag kayong mag-alala. Kasi yung mga kahit po yung mga naluloko sa gobyerno, meron ng panahon yan. Husgahan sila ng Panginoon. Kasi nga, politika sa atin, di ba? Ganito lang daw. Sa umpisa, tatakbo, tapos mananalo, tapos mamumurako, tapos mabibisto, pagkatapos makukulong, tapos ma-hospital, may neck brace pa, tapos makakalaya. At ngayon, di ba? Congress President pa. Kaya, mga kapatid, I don't know, pero God has His own time, has His own way. Amen po ba? We have a great God and great judge. Hello. Ibigay natin sa Lord. Huwag natin habulin lahat. Huwag natin pabayaan na madamay tayo. Lastly, let me ask this to you. You need to tell others about the coming judgment. There is a judgment. Let's tell others about the coming judgment. Sabi ng talata natin kanina, verse 15, if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. Ano yung lake of fire, mga kapatid? A description? Where their worm does not die. Sino sa inyo gusto gawing pet ang worm? Yung ubod. May pet pa kayong ubod, mga kapatid? Nakakadiri yan. And the fire is not quenched. Sino sa inyo dito nakaranas na mapaso? Mga kapatid, ang paso doon forever. Ang mahirap, yung uod sa katawan mo at yung paso, walang hanggan. Kasi hindi ka rin namamatay. Nasubukan mo na mapasok? Aw. Forever yung sakit na yun, na para ka napapasok. That's why sabi ng Panginoong Diyos, in Ezekiel, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they turn from their ways and live. Hindi ako natutuwa sa kamatayan ng isang masamang tao. Dahil alam niya, pupunta sila sa walang kapakanan. That's why Paul said, he commanded us to preach to the people and to testify that he is the one whom God appointed as judge of the living and the dead. Mga kapatid, we have a responsibility. If you believe that you already passed judgment because you have a relation with the Lord Jesus Christ, we need to tell others that there's a coming judgment and they're going to suffer from the judgment. In closing, meron this is a true story, yung isang justice sa Belgium by the name of Justice Maurice Gray. Nung meron siya isang kaso at sa harapan niya isang lalaki, alam niya, kriminal, pero makakalaya naman sa technicality. Ito pong sabi niya, hinarap niya yung lalaki, I know that you are guilty and you know it. And I wish you to remember that one day you will stand before a better and wise judge, and that you will be dealt according with his justice. Tumawa lang po yung lalaki, lumabas. You must after, that same guy, nangrap na naman sa bahay, may pinatay pa. Takbo siya, inabo siya ng mga pulis. Akit siya sa 9 feet tall na pader. Pagkatapos nahulog siya. Pagtingin niya, aba, yung pala yung backyard ng Quezon City. Huli siya. Hindi ka makakatakas. You know why? Because Jesus is the great executioner, our equalizer. Mga kapatid, there is a judgment, and we praise the Lord that you and I have passed that judgment because of the Lord Jesus Christ. But let's tell others about that judgment. God bless you.
It was such an insightful message from the Lord. Would you believe, brothers and sisters? Shall we say amen to that? Amen. As we proceed with our worship and giving, let me just read to you a verse from Luke 11:42. Jesus here speaking, "But woe to you Pharisees, for you tithe mint and rue and every herb, and neglect justice and the love of God. Those you ought to have done without neglecting the others." Brothers and sisters, I urge everyone, as we give our tithes and offering, and as we now heard the message of God, it's very clear that our God is a God of love, and a God who is holy and just. So don't forget, as we give honor to our God through the resources that He has blessed us, let us also not forget or not neglect that we ought to share to others our lives and make Jesus be known through the way we live. So now let me call on the ushers for our tithes and offering. Once again, in behalf of the leadership of this church, we welcome everyone to this week's weekend service. Okay, and we have, let me just welcome two visitors today. So we have for us, for the first time, Sister Francesca Liano and Sister Maricris Malarisio. Okay, sisters, some of our members of the ushering committee ministry will approach you and will give you something as a token for your visit here. And they will introduce you to our church, a brief history of our church, or they will talk to you. So I hope this is not the first and last that we can fellowship with you, but the beginning of a lasting fellowship with you in this city, in this place. Okay, quick announcement. Serving today is the Altuma G group, and the fellowship in charge for next week will be the Khalifa G group. So the presider for next week's service will be Elder Brother Adrian De Leon. The song leader will be Sister Helen Bultuyan. Tithes and offering, to usher us in the giving of the tithes and offering is Brother Nelson and Sister Kathleya Areza. And the preacher prayer intercessors are Brother Red Batangan, Sister Clarice Barcibal, and Sister Manelos Denina. Okay. Other announcements, we will have our monthly prayer and worship service on August 27, 2018. So our prayer and worship service every Monday, the last Monday of every month. And this August, it will be on the 27th of August. It will be held 7:30 at the Majlis Hall beside this hall. So I urge everyone to attend this monthly prayer and worship. An additional announcement, the men's ministry head is calling all the G group representatives. You will meet after this worship service. Some very important matters will be discussed. So that's all, and I call now Pastor for the closing prayer and benediction.
Tayo po ay tumayo tayo. Bukas sa panalangin, after this our fellowship outside. Let's take time and enjoy. And we'll be happy to fellowship with you. Your help in this day. Let's need sa atin sa panalangin particularly. So, please feel free to approach anyone kung meron po kayo special needs to be prayed for. Let's pray. Tayo po naman. Salamat, Panginoon. We thank you, Lord, that you are the God who's coming as a judge. That even our sufferings in this world will be rewarded. You are the God who's never unjust. Alam mo po, Panginoon, yung mga dinaanan namin. Alam mo po, Panginoon, yung mga pagsubok na naranasan namin. And for some of us, we're continually depending on you and trusting you, God, in spite of those difficulties sa buhay namin. Our hope and our trust is that you are a just God, a just judge. That you know this, and then according to your word, you're going to reward us, O God. In fact, many of those, marami po doon, Panginoon, natatanggap namin even sa lugar na ito, sa ibabaw ng mundo. But we are still appreciating and anticipating, Panginoon, what you have in store for us sa darating na panahon when you come back. Na lahat ng aming ginawang pagpapagal, pagtsatsaga, pagsasakripisyo will one day be rewarded according to your goodness. And so we ask right now, God, if anyone of us here who may be struggling for any injustices that was done sa kanila, Panginoon, in every areas ng kanilang buhay, Lord, maybe in our work, Panginoon, that our bosses or our managers, Panginoon, are showing or taking advantage of us or naabuso kami. We would like to just entrust them to you. I pray even, Panginoon, para doon sa mga meron pang struggle for the pains and hurts na naranasan because of the injustices that they receive. And people have taken on advantage of them too. I pray, Lord, that you're going to strengthen them and comfort them and show them that our God is indeed a just judge. You take revenge for us, O God, not us, but you. But our greatest joy and our greatest vengeance is to see those people to come to repentance, O Lord, and to know you as the person of our Lord and Savior. So that as you come, they will not be placed into the lake of fire and suffer the punishment and lasting and forever punishment. Lord, because it is not your desire, it is not your will. And so we're asking, use us also as we go on from this place kung saan kami maparoon, Panginoon. Not just to do the things that we normally do in our work, but use us as a channel of your blessings to reach out for them and show them that there is a judgment that is about to come. We may not take it seriously right now, but it may surely come anytime sa buhay namin. So I ask, may you see us, God, ready and prepared for the judgment, no matter what happens, Lord. Because our joy is that we will be reunited with you in heaven for the time that you restored prepared for us, for the inheritance that you restored for us. Again, we thank you for your word. May we continue to nourish this in our hearts, O God, and live as your people that trust you in your judgment. Salamat po, Panginoon. Bless us, bless our work for this coming week. Ingatan mo po kami even for our loved ones and our brethren for going back to the Philippines. Ingatan din po niyo sila. Ilayo sa pamakan. Again, may your blessings and traveling with mercy be upon them. And so we thank you, Lord, and we just bring back all the honor and praise to you, because you alone deserve it. As our God who's just. Sa inyo lang ang papuri ko niyan sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Salamat sa Panginoon sa kanyang biyaya, sa kanyang salita natin narinig ngayong araw na ito. Let's sing our victory song. This is the day, hindi ito na itong araw na kayo dinala dito para magkaroon tayo na